welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be our recap for Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 2. My name is Zach. I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
Best friend, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight? Han, why don't you fill everybody in on this game you're addicted to?
I feel like he was rushing us. Did you feel that?
No.
I felt like I couldn't finish my intro before you were introducing Jake.
Oh, well, I tell you what. What game you been playing?
Township.
All right.
I have a farm and factories. It's just something to do.
If any of you guys play Township, drop down in the comments. Han would love some more people to play with.
Actually, I don't want to play with other people. I have my own town, and I keep it to myself. I've found that I like doing this a lot better than being on social media. Like, I've mostly stayed off of social media since, like, right before I got COVID.
Well,
and I've enjoyed it. Like, I feel like I have better peace of mind.
you can't even help from talking about
No.
it. You are addicted.
I'm really not. Like, I promise I'm not.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what an addict says, though. Yeah.
They do say that.
Yeah.
Well, literally, the amount of time I'm on there is the same amount of time either one of you is on Twitter or Instagram.
I don't know
So
if that's even
at
true.
that point, what's the difference? If anything, you're on Twitter more than I'm on whatever game this is.
I don't think that's true.
It is, because you guys are both glued to your phones.
Oh, that is the pot calling the kettle black,
Yeah,
if anything's
sure
ever
is.
been a
Yeah,
thing.
I'm not denying it.
I'm not denying anything.
All right, well, how about...
I am on my phone a lot,
How
but
about we
I'm
just-
trying to stay off of social media.
How about we just quit chopping each other's heads off here? We all have our character flaws.
Yeah, you like eggs.
I do like eggs, like hard-boiled eggs.
I like eggs.
Yeah.
Do you like hard-boiled eggs like he does? Because that's disgusting.
Not
to
like
me.
he does, but
Dipping things in some iodized salt and you're good to go.
That's
Baby
just so
gotta eat.
gross to me.
she doesn't like eggs in general.
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt.
To steer this
Iodized
back
salt.
in a direction here, I guess the right direction. You guys thought, we were going to go to this day after routine, but no. We have stuck to our loins. Is that the phrase?
He can't say groins either.
Loins.
Yeah, I mean, you said it weird, but also I don't think that's a saying.
Is it not?
Well, maybe it is.
I think
We've stuck to our loins.
You got me confused now.
But he's
Loins.
saying loins.
We stuck to our loins, and we're back tonight. It is 11:59 p.m. here in West Tennessee. It is late. We all have jobs to go to in the morning, but you know what? Tonight...
I got work tonight.
Yeah, Zach's got work tonight, but tonight, I want to tell you something. We thought about you guys, the listener. You listening
Just
right
the one.
now.
The one.
You that are listening right now, we thought about you, and we all collectively decided it was one look across the room when the episode went off, and we all knew we're coming upstairs tonight, and we're going to knock this thing out because you guys deserve it. And in the spirit of Kelz, we're not intimidated by anybody, so we're just going to do this thing. And if you don't hear from us again,
we're all dead.
We left our mark. So
one quick thing before we do get into tonight's episode. Yesterday, our Rivals 2 recap for episodes 8 and 9 went live. Also on patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, our episode 5 of our challenge watch along for Survivor. Sorry, not challenge, but Survivor watch along for Survivor season 28. Episode 5 of that went live yesterday, and then episode 6 is already done. I just have it scheduled to publish next week. So 2 podcasts dropped yesterday for our patrons.
buddy, this is what, our 4th podcast this week?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've recorded 4 podcasts and honestly 5 episodes worth because the Rivals 2 is 2 episodes together.
That's right.
And so, yeah, we're recording a lot.
Guys, I had been up since 4 a.m. this morning.
Mm-hmm. You did take a nap for a little bit.
An hour. I took an hour nap. But I have been up since 4 a.m.
And we played tennis last night.
We did play tennis.
That was the night we didn't record. We recorded Sunday night, Monday night, played tennis last night, and then now we're recording again tonight.
Yeah.
And then we got more Patreon stuff. Again, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast. Just get on there. That's the best place to get, 1, all of our stuff ad-free, 2, exclusive podcasts that are nowhere else. We all love Hot Morgan on Survivor 28.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we do.
And from there, we got a fantasy league coming up for fantasy football. We don't draft until after the preseason's almost done anyway, so don't worry about that. If you are a patron and you want to get in it, you haven't missed it. So other than that, there's just a lot of stuff going on top of us podcasting about 3 consecutive shows at the same time.
You're right. Hand was moving around a lot, and I just knew that mic was going to fall over. And I just knew it. But it didn't.
It didn't.
So, yeah, we're having a good time.
Good time.
Jay, you and I, we actually filmed a video earlier today, and we came in hot.
Yeah.
Ready to just flip tables and scream like banshees. And I feel like we both still have that energy now.
I feel like he doesn't.
I'm here. I'm
I
happy.
think that's your energy. You're
happy
here
to be here. But another reason I think we all felt so impelled to record is because this season has been good.
Pumped.
Did you say impelled to record? I think you said. I think you did because it at
is that
first
not the word?
Compelled.
Compelled.
Yeah, I think you said.
You did say impelled.
Yeah, you said impelled, and I was like, I was like, wait, I don't think that's
Something's
a word.
wrong there.
It was a lot of the right sounds, but it didn't. Last night we were playing tennis. On the way there, we passed.
No, leave me alone.
We
Leave me
passed
alone. Leave me alone.
A food truck, and Hannah's like, "Oh, that's that Filipino thing that I wanted to go to." And then she's like, "What's
That's
it?
not
what's
what
it called?
happened.
What are they? What is word?" Food
No,
truck was the word. That was what happened.
It was food truck. It's a food truck. They only come here on Saturdays, and I've never
It
been.
was Tuesday.
I've never been able. I've never been able to go to it, and it was parked across the street from the tennis courts at a car repair place. They were parked on the side of the road.
This story's
and
gotta
I got
stop
so
right
excited.
now.
I said, "Oh, there's the Filipino. What word?" And then it was just a joke, and then it was a running joke that continued today with our other friend that was with us last night. He brought it up tonight, and then I had another thing when we were filming the video earlier today.
You were spitting everywhere, supposedly.
And I apparently yelled out, "Why my mouth's so spitty?" And
I gotta tell you, Han, something happened between COVID and now. But
if you haven't listened to the Rivals 2, the last episode we did, you'll hear more about
Boy.
COVID brain, and
right there at the top of the pod.
that is how it opened the show. So go back an episode. If you haven't been listening to those because you're like, "Oh, I've watched Rivals 2 too many times," or whatever, at least go back and listen to
the first 15
like
minutes.
10 or 15 minutes of the most recent episode for Lock Load Explode is the name, episode 8 and 9. You'll get more about that.
I tell you, you gotta love food trucks that show up on Tuesdays. Hold on.
Now you're confused.
That are only supposed to show up on Saturdays, and you find them on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
They weren't open. They were parked at the car repair place.
Well, we can.
And it was across the street from the tennis courts.
We can get into that all day long. Like I said, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, and we'll plug everything else at the end. We did decide we are going to try to push everyone to try to get us to 1,000 followers on Twitter, because we're like 858 or something like that. Weirdly, we on our Survivor recap that we did, we talked about
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead at the beginning because that episode was called Zombie something. And then within like 20 minutes of that episode being live, a Walking Dead fan account followed us on Instagram, which was very strange.
Which would tell me one of our patrons
Decided just then, like, you know what? They won me over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it's JD.
It probably is. He's an enigma. We don't know much about him. He's the only one I think in our Slack group that doesn't have a picture at all. It's just a like blanked out default icon in Slack.
Right.
You know, I don't have my face on there, but I think my face is Corey from Boy Meets World.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you want to be a part of all the big T heat I generate, join our Patreon.
I feel like you do
Shout
on
out.
purpose sometimes.
I do now. You better believe I do now. Yeah, buddy. It's a thing now.
Well, the thing is just become people in the Slack group are like, we don't see much hate in here, and we're like, yeah, well, this podcast goes out to hundreds and thousands of people, and so not hundreds of thousands, but like
thousands,
yeah,
it's thousands,
and so like a lot of the stuff is not in the Slack group of however many people are in there now. So
yeah, I got Paul calling me a snowflake and everything. I know what you meant, Paul. Yeah.
Well, I would say of the three of us, you look more like a snowflake. You're paler.
Yeah.
You have a good lattice pattern on you.
Yeah.
So let's get into the episode tonight. Also, working on interviews, the first one for this season. Just waiting on some publicist things. We'll get back to that when we can. But episode 2, again, of the worst title I think we've had as far as seasons go. This episode starts off, Gabbo's just wanting to know about Ed, wanting to know where he comes from, what his background is.
Which I think is so sweet. He's just trying to make friends.
Isn't
that so cute?
Well, I guess here's the thing we should talk about is, so Michaela, who obviously went home last week, posted on Twitter and Instagram and all that, her list, like the infamous list, right? The weird thing is, on the list, she has notes about Ed. Those two should not have been in the house at all together. The thing is, what happened is there was a COVID shutdown, and Big T was patient 0 for that, so good job. And that caused everything to shut down for a second time.
Well, easy, Zach. I don't want you generating the kind of heat that I do. All right?
Yeah, I'm fine with
Let's
it.
ease up over there.
So that caused a big shutdown where everyone had to be quarantined for 10 days or whatever. So Ed and them are in the same hotel, so these people got to know him. Also, what happened was during that time, all the people who had all just recently met each other, like all the vets that met the rookies and all that, they had their phones in the hotel with them, so they all started doing a lot of research on each other.
Oh.
So that's why Survivor started getting a lot of heat, because you probably had a lot of people looking up like, oh,
who's who?
Yeah.
What do I need to know about you?
And that's why Nam is gone, is because the day before filming was supposed to resume, Nam tested positive for COVID, and they're like, we can't push off filming anymore. Ed's here. He's a backup already.
And now I'm ready to burn the world down.
Well, it's Big T's fault.
I'm going to tell you, Han, I think Ed is significantly more entertaining than Nam.
I agree.
Okay. I
agree.
like Ed.
He is significantly more entertaining.
I am not happy that Ed replaced Nam.
He is significantly
Yeah,
more
I am ready to burn the world down.
Ed should have replaced another guy on this show.
But he's still more entertaining than Nam.
I agree.
And I would say significantly.
Nam was working on it this season.
Was
he wasn't paired
was
with
there for
Lolo.
10 minutes and gone.
No, the pre-episode.
The episode 0, he was kind of looked at as someone because he'd done it before.
He was like a leader, and he was telling everybody everything.
Yeah, but he
and
wasn't.
Everybody was looking at him for
hold
answers,
on
and he was
wait
taking
a
a
minute.
leadership position, and I was ready to see it this season.
Yeah, he wasn't going to hold no leadership position, Han. I'm just going to tell you.
No.
That's not Nam.
No, and what sucks is he had to go out on things out of his control both seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that so sucks.
I really hope he does get a shot back.
Here's the thing with Nam is he looked as entertaining as he did last season in the context of Casey, Fessy, Amber B, people who are not so entertaining.
Dare.
I am I like Nam, but the truth of the matter is he looked as entertaining as he did because he was in the house with people who are not entertaining.
I think you should. Amber B shouldn't be grouped in with Casey and Fessy.
I don't think Amber B's that entertaining.
I don't think she's necessarily oh, can't wait. I do think she has her own personality about her. She did win. I don't know why she wasn't cast to begin with.
I still can't wrap my head around that.
That's so weird. It had to have been a timing issue, right? Or she couldn't get there was some sort of a COVID issue where she couldn't get cleared in the quarantine time, but then because things shut down for a second time, and we'll get into why she replaced this person in a minute because I've got some videos from Instagram that I pulled earlier today.
But I think Ed's
great cast
all around
I like Ed.
already.
I like Ed.
It sucks that honestly 2 of the best
Yeah.
rookies had to go against each other tonight, and I'm not talking about Emmy and Tracy.
And they are both extremely entertaining, but in 2 very different regards.
Completely different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, honestly...
I'm gonna say this, and we'll talk about it more as we get into it. I don't think there's been anyone like Kelz on this show ever. And I will tell you why as we get into it.
I'm not going to get into say that yet, but I will say, other than people like Tracy and the girl who got sent home, this rookie casting seems really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even like people who haven't done anything yet, like Bettina, like you still like one thing about
Yes,
her.
you do.
Oh, she's got that laugh.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
and so anyway, Gabbo wants to get to know Ed. We find out Ed is an Ivy League engineer
And a thick boy.
Oh yeah, he's ripped.
Yeah.
But he's not just he's thick.
My note was, he's like Hunter if Hunter was smart, and because Hunter is very dumb, and I like Ed is so, and also Ed just seems way more likable.
Yeah.
Like I never liked Hunter.
Ed has a good attitude all the time. He seems down for whatever. Very positive vibes.
Sometimes overly outgoing people kind of like in real life will like make me kind of like back off because it's just too much energy. But like I think like Ed is like genuinely a guy that people like gravitate to just because he seems like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm ready to go.
He seems like a very fun person.
Yeah.
Like I would really want to be friends with him in real life. Also, he's an engineer. An Ivy League engineer at that.
And Nam was an engineer.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They brought in Ed to replace Nam because you can only have one engineer on the season at a time.
So immediately after that, there's a dance party at the pool and lots of like suggestive dancing with people who are like, that's the thing we haven't had the last couple seasons, like
Hookups.
hardly any hookups. And then this one, it seems like it's going to be very heavy on that.
I really thought we were going to have a Tori and Kelz hookup.
They did.
They cuddled.
They were in bed together afterwards.
But she was wearing clothes.
I mean, from what you saw,
I didn't walk away thinking they definitely hooked up.
Yeah, no,
I did not think that they hooked up.
Like she flipped into his lap or whatever outside, and then they were shown in bed.
She
like,
stuck her head between his legs.
Yeah,
is what she did.
Yeah, she did a somersault into there.
I got no impression that they hooked up.
I didn't walk away thinking they had hooked up.
Well, I'm not a good.
I
God,
thought
guys.
it was coming. I thought it was going to happen
there,
soon.
Yeah, easy.
Easy
Okay,
there.
not like that.
Okay,
I thought
this is
I thought
we
that
still do this
that it
for
was
the kids here,
happening
all right?
in the near future.
Yeah.
Well, we do get after that, like Nelson and Berna laying on a couch together, and then he immediately gets up and goes to Ashley's bed, and then if they didn't hook up, production just cut to 30 minutes later, and because he had kind of an obscured view of the bunk bed area, and
The morning after, Nani and Ashley are talking about it, and Nani was like, "I can't believe I was right next to you, and you hooked up with him." And Amanda was up top.
called them like the bottom bunk whores or something like that.
Did you catch that Gabbo told a group of people that his childhood dream was to be on American television? And here he was.
Yes, it was he was the spotlight of that scene.
I thought that was the cutest thing.
He's like, I grew up watching the Jersey Shore and I always wanted to be on American TV, which it's funny that like that's something that like people can grow up and see like, oh, that's what I want to be. And then he was on the Warsaw Shore or whatever.
Yeah, he did it in his area, but he finally made it to American television, and I'm so happy for him.
Well, he did it. Then I just have a note that says I forgot who Tracy was because I think they showed her talking to someone and I was like, I don't even remember who she was.
The girl that was wearing the Muppet.
No, I got it. Obviously, we saw a lot of Tracy since then.
Here's the thing, like, I didn't realize Devin was so desirable by female competitors because Michelle was like basically apologizing to Tracy for stealing Devin as her partner. And then Tracy says in a confessional that she really misses Devin and hopes that she can steal him back in the future.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like I don't think Tracy's like pulling like an A1 political game that like she understands what's really going on here. I think Devin being picked is just going to become a meme at this point. Like it's.
I
like,
hope he's picked every time.
I think Emmy just picked him because he was picked last time.
I think she got it. I think she understood.
Wild little deal happening there with him, huh?
Yeah,
it's funny.
I do think it's really funny. The next morning, Nani just wants all the vets to stick together. They're like trying to strategize as far as, hey, there's a lot of rookies, there's a lot of strong people. Let's figure out who we can get out. And then that's when Josh and them start talking about they want to take Kelz out.
Well, Josh told them that he thought that Kelz was the ringleader of all the rookies.
I mean, they definitely have a right to be afraid of Kelz. Like, one-on-one, Kelz would beat probably anyone in, other than maybe Fessy, just size-wise, they match up similar. But he even makes Fessy look small when he's standing beside him.
Mm-hmm.
He is, again, part of the reason I think there's never been anyone like him. He is such a presence without having to say anything, really.
Yeah.
It's
in his eyes too,
Yeah.
man. Like he wears it on his face, and like even the way he like moves around the house, like he just has this presence that
it's like he's like a panther. Like,
Yeah.
where he's just like
He's there,
You can
and
feel
you
he's
know
there,
he's there.
and it's so calm and it's so strong, and
It's so confident.
yeah. Like, because again, it basically the sayings are like, if you're ever out in like the woods or whatever, and you like ran across like a panther, they're like, it's too late by that point. Like you should like never know that they're there. By the time they reveal themselves to you, like you're
done.
Yeah, you're
dead.
You're kind of over with. They're gonna fight you, and so like Kelz is just like so meticulous. Like it seems like he just has. He doesn't get worked up. He doesn't like freak out about anything, and he's very calm. He's not like, whenever like the whole thing with Josh, he's like calling him out. Like Kelz just kind of like laid it out like, well, that's stupid because no one ever thinks you're going to have a good political game, and you'll never be smart enough to do this. But it wasn't in like I'm here to like fight
Not
you, that
defensive.
type of energy. It's just like, no, these are the facts. And to back it up, he's also like 6'6" and like 240
well,
or 250.
and that's his greatest downfall, right?
Is people are intimidated by him.
That's his downfall.
Everybody's scared of him.
But I mean, to have the presence that he does, but then, you know, obviously, if you're listening, you watch tonight's episode. To walk away at the end of the night saying, you know, it's business, right?
Yeah, he's like, I understand
to like
what
still have
happened.
that mindset is just like all of that like wrapped in. Because I'll be honest with you, I think I really believe if he'd had any other partner, or if it would have been an individual thing,
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's a wrap.
What I told you guys when the elimination started, before we knew what the parameters were, because, you know, it could have been like a round by round thing, where the guys go and then the girls go, whatever. I was like, if it is something like that, I hope they make a twist this season where the best guy and the best girl win, and you're not stuck with whoever you're partnered with. So that, like, you can have an individual person, because...
So Emmy would come back, and then Kelz would come back.
Yeah, because it would suck if it's like a hall brawl, and, like, you're Kelz, and you're like... For reference, say you're, like, Kelz, and you're going against, like, Huey. And then you have Ashley going against Tracy.
Yeah.
And you lose because Ashley just happened to, like, dominate Tracy. Like, that sucks. And so, like, that's the thing, is, like, I hope they maybe do a thing where it's like... Oh, whoever has the best individual performance, you're not anchored by whoever you're partnered with. Because then that just makes the game more interesting going forward, because you have two strong people remaining in the house.
But I mean, like, out of all like the physical presences, or, you know, physically dominant males we've seen on this show, I can't think of anyone that has like the like domineering type presence in this, like, almost like predatory like presence.
CT,
but
CT's never was 6'6".
But CT was out of control.
Yeah.
CT was goofy or whatever else, right? Like, this guy is so just like almost eerie.
It's a panther.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm
It
serious.
is almost eerie.
Yeah.
And there's
so-
something about it that makes you want to
He
touch
reminds
it.
me of like the snake from the Jungle Book that'll like
Yeah.
lure you in.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like he'll strike.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like
I really hope they call him back.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think
I want to see him on
100%.
every season forever.
I think 100% he is cast on next season, if scheduling and COVID and all that permit it. Because, like, I mean, it's
You
just...
have to build this roster, right? Like the challenge roster.
And he's good. Like, he is a good... Even though we haven't seen him, like, do an elimination or whatever until tonight, like, he was good TV. He wasn't somebody that you're like, who cares? Like Tracy, like, you're like, no, who cares if this person's here or not? And she may be very nice outside of the show, but I don't know.
There could
Like,
be another big T, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like he's like when it came down to it was going to be him and Ed. I first thought it was going to be him and CT, but when it found out it was him and Ed, I was like, man, these are probably my two favorite guy rookies.
It's the rookie version of when CT and Wes went up against each other.
Yeah.
Was it last season or season before?
I don't remember. They kind of all run together for me.
It's like the elimination where Wes and Devin went against each other. I didn't want either one of them to go home.
That one too.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like we'll obviously talk about it more later. We do find out Fessy is fasting for Ramadan, which
We talked about that last episode too, though.
You weren't even on the last episode.
No, but I remember watching it and I said, "Oh, I know quite a bit about Ramadan just because my boss."
Yeah, but I don't think Jake and I really talked about it in the actual episode. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's fasting from sun up to sundown.
Mm-hmm. And then at sundown, you eat a lot to kind of replenish your body and prepare for the next day.
Yeah, which, I mean, like, granted, this next daily wasn't, like, super taxing. Like, I mean, he stood in a car and caught things and then just sprinted for the last part. But, I mean, obviously, like, it would be much easier if you didn't fast during all that time. Yeah. Esther's like, well, I'm going to go eat for you then. And, but we haven't talked about it on air. I told you guys, I looked into the two girls from Big Brother Nigeria, Tasha and Esther. They have a following unlike anyone else on this show. Like, Tasha is like almost 2 million followers on Instagram and over 1 million on Twitter. Esther's over 1 million on Instagram. Like, and like for reference sake, like Kara, probably the biggest female name on the show.
She's got like 380 something thousand. Is that right?
It's like 497 or something like
that's
that.
More.
So she's under 500, and then Bananas is like 800 and something. And so, like, these girls are doing numbers as far as they may have been a huge hit on Big Brother Nigeria. Obviously, we don't watch that show.
I mean, they've been pretty entertaining so far.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a problem with any rookies for the most part. I mean, what's her name? Tracy's not great, but we get into the daily. It's called Heli Heist, and if you watch the season trailers, like from the beginning, we were just like, "Oh, Amber B's gonna show up," because it was the same exact thing. And then they didn't. But basically, you have two people in a helicopter, and then two people in like Land Rovers or something, and then you're just throwing bags of gems down, and whoever can catch the most and then run across the finish line the fastest wins. I didn't take specific notes on each individual round.
Don't think we needed to, Zach.
Who was the one that only got like 6? Somebody did really bad. I wish I would have wrote that down. Because most people were like 18, 20, 26. I think the most was 30. And then the second most was 28. And then
was it Big T and Walmart West?
I think it may have been Big T and Tommy that got 6.
Because they went at the same time as Emmy and
Ed.
And I remember
Emmy and Ed got 13. I did write that down.
Yeah, I remember neither one of those teams did very well.
Yeah, and like Bettina and Corey, I thought Bettina wasn't catching very much, so she got 20.
Yeah, she got a lot.
I don't remember. Again, I didn't write it down. I should have wrote down who got the really bad one, but
what bothered me throughout this entire daily is one of those rovers had a busted windshield.
They may have thrown the gyms too hard.
Well,
I didn't notice that,
No, they showed
by the way.
it like at during the very first one.
Well, they got to test them. Like, they test the dailies.
Oh, maybe that is what happened.
Do you think that affected the game?
No, it just affected my attention.
Okay.
I didn't notice that.
Because I thought they've gotten a Ferrari, 2 Land Rovers, a helicopter.
This is an expensive daily.
And an expensive daily, and then the Ferrari that TJ drove in the last episode. And so I was wondering, like, oh, well, maybe in order to afford this, because when they all came to the house, everybody piled in
Maseratis.
Not Maseratis. There was one Audi and the rest were Mercedes. But that's how they were transported to the house. And so I just thought, looking at this busted windshield, maybe that's how they were affording these cars.
You thought that they were like, you know what, give us that one with the broke windshield. We're spending $1 million for this daily, but we can't afford a nice windshield.
No, but you can get them at a discount and save money.
I don't think that's
It's
how that works.
smarter that way. Because nobody's really gonna care if the car has a busted windshield.
Well, apparently you did.
It doesn't. It doesn't affect the daily, and
You just said it
and they're
affected
throwing stuff at the car.
Well,
That thing's probably all dented up.
That's some wild logic there, and I'm gonna be honest with
so this is where Josh is told he gets a new partner because his other one has been deactivated. They don't even mention her name. It's Lauren, which she did a bunch of Instagram live stuff last night, and I watched a handful of them because I saw people asking her about the challenge.
Do you think she watched the screener?
Well, her thing is, people said, why were you edited out of the challenge? Actually, I have the video. I can just play it.
Oh, God. We get live playback here?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
3,
No, hold on.
2,
I got to turn.
1.
Don't really want to answer because it was so traumatic and led me into a lot of therapy and counseling and the worst time of my life.
And then somebody asked,
Why was I so heavily edited out of the challenge? Honestly, because it seemed like. Why was I so heavily edited out of the challenge? Honestly, because Croatia is so far ahead and all of the shit that I was accused of saying, MTV Legal didn't have enough time to go over the tapes before the next challenge started, so I was fucked.
Clearly, I'm going to have to edit that to keep it for the kids.
Yeah.
Her,
You got the timestamp?
Yeah, I got it. Her reasoning, because somebody else asked her, which is one I didn't record, because I recorded those and put in our Slack group, and I was like, did anybody else see this? And someone asked her if she would ever do another season, and she was like, it just depends on if they have the mental energy or not to deal with something like that. She basically was like, oh yeah, I'll get cast for sure, but from what I gathered, because we have people in our Slack group who are spoiler freaks who love knowing all this stuff, which I don't understand at all, but I didn't want
Jake's dad is like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to. He's a challenge spoiler freak.
Yeah,
I didn't want to look too far into what happened because I was afraid I'd see something that would mess up the season for me. And apparently, we heard Jake and I discussed it briefly last episode. We heard it was like some racial stuff. We thought it was like tweets or something. Apparently, it was something that happened during filming to Anissa, which was, from what I was told, which was very similar to what Robin and Trishelle both did to Anissa, which I had forgot about the Robin one. That happened during, like, they said, like, the duel or something, like, back in the day.
I don't know about that.
And so I was like, they told Anissa she was a stripper, and they're like, no. But it was... Again, what was it Trishelle said? She was like, why are you Jewish and black? And it's like, what kind of a question is this, Trishelle? Mm-hmm. And so I'm assuming it was something along those lines because they just completely edited her out of the first episode. And then they did not mention her name or who she was or show her at all in this episode, and she's gone. And
we may never know what really happened.
It'll come out eventually.
It will come out eventually, most likely. But never assume anything.
I'm going off of what people that look for this stuff. No, again, this is all allegedly. Her side obviously is going to be painted in a lot nicer picture than probably what happened, because I mean they just got rid of her. Her reasoning was what apparently happened. MTV didn't get a chance to review before the episodes aired, and so they just cut her out completely. And because she's like, because Croatia's so far ahead. But I was like, you're not filming in real time and like going up the next day. And so like, if there was an incident, like they could be like, oh, hey, this happened during a party at 8:15 or whatever, somewhere around that time. Just watch her mics and all that. So I feel like she's trying to make it out to be less of a deal than what it was. But it was clearly big enough that they just got rid of her. And the only other time I remember that happening is with that Eddie guy, and that was a production fault, and they cast a guy who someone had a restraining order against.
That's on production for that.
And they just had to edit him out after the first episode. But anyway, she is gone. Amber B's here. Josh got a heck of an upgrade in a partner.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, for sure. Anissa and Fessy, neither one looked very excited to see her.
No.
Anissa rolled her eyes.
Well, that's because she can outrun Anissa for sure. Like, I mean, that's Anissa's big weakness is any sort of like longevity stuff, and that was Amber B's biggest strength. And so,
They had a fantastic song choice in the middle of this. You and I both really appreciated it.
Well, we weren't there yet, but okay.
It's just a good song.
You're not going to tell people what it was?
The Valves? Is that who it was?
Yeah, the Valves. Is the
Valves.
The Vines.
It
Oh,
was
the
actually
Vines.
before the Lauren was deactivated and Amber V came in.
Well, apparently Lauren was deactivated a long time ago. Because she wasn't even in the, like, again, she wasn't standing up there with them. They sent her home. And it wasn't COVID related. So, anyway, Josh and Amber B are, and then Esther and Fessy were the last two to go. Fessy and Esther end up winning. Esther's, like, pinpoint throwing those things right to him. Like, she's doing a good job.
It's that muscle memory in action, isn't it? Right? It was almost sitting the same spot.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And, like, she wasn't even letting him, like, pull them all in. Like,
she was
threw,
like one
three
after
at a time.
one after another, like,
Yeah.
like boom, 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 boom.
I wonder if that was part of it, though.
He could just kind of rake them all in.
Well, no, like, I mean, they can only drive those vehicles so far.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they had, maybe
throw
they
as
had,
many as you can.
maybe they had, I don't know, 40 different things up there, and you want to throw as many as you can out.
Yeah, there could have been people ahead that, like, went too slow, and they're like, oh, I only got to throw out 20 of my 40 bags or whatever. So, yeah, just the more you throw out, the better a chance you got. And so they won. That's one of the things about going last that's a big advantage.
Have you ever watched someone run and say that it was just the sweetest thing? Because Berna said that about Nelson, and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything like that.
I've watched you jump and thought that was the sweetest thing.
That's also Jake's favorite movie is The Sweetest Thing.
Jump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Do you know that movie? It's Cameron Diaz and
I do like Cameron Diaz.
Christina Applegate and
too.
Selma Blair.
I like her too.
Well,
You're gonna
that's
say
a
hi.
movie made for you.
Buddy, let me go home.
Is it? Okay. Isn't Jump that Disney Channel original movie with Corbin Bleu from High School Musical, and he does like the double Dutch jump?
That was
jump
after
rope?
my time watching Disney Channel
is
original
that-
movies.
It was past my time, but I had much younger sisters.
Well, if it was past your time, then it was past our time for sure.
I just didn't know because he was like Jump.
Hold on now, Han.
Yeah.
You firing off on them points over there. So here's the only thing I think we really need to like talk about that's a carryover throughout the episode from this daily is break down Emmy, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
starts-
goodness.
She starts breaking down, and this is a theme throughout the
Yeah.
episode.
Well, she and Big T both are very terrified of heights. I remember Big T's fear from last season because it was a big deal.
Yeah, well, the difference, Han, is that they didn't focus on Big T anymore after that.
They didn't.
They did. No,
They
that's
didn't.
something I know.
They didn't show much at all.
They showed her in like one confessional at the end about the elimination.
They showed a lot of Emmy because once the helicopter was taking off, Emmy, what is her name? Emmy was crying a lot. She kept
Like the award?
wiping.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it is. She kept wiping her face because she kept crying and crying and crying. And then
She said her goggles were filled up with tears.
yeah, and then Big T was just screaming, and that's why neither one of those teams did super well. But once they landed, Emmy came over just crying hysterically to Ed, who's trying to comfort her. Not very well,
You know
but
what?
she's crying her eyes out, and she said, quote, "I think I'm the weakest."
I do have to correct. I don't think it was Big T and Tommy that got the 6.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so either.
Because
I, don't think that was right.
I think they showed Ed and Amy got 13, which was low, and then they didn't show the number for the 6 was like in one of those montages of
For some, I feel like it was. I don't know. I want to say it was Kelz and Tracy.
honestly it may have been because
I think it may have been.
it was someone that it shocked me, but at the same time like Tracy shouldn't shock us on that because she's very frail looking.
Yeah.
She looks like she'll fly away if the wind picks up.
Hey, listen, you Big T stands asked for this. All right, I ain't letting up.
I don't care what you do.
I've owned this. I am here for it, and I am ready for it.
Well, it's like when you just went all in on the Polly side. You're just going on the opposite.
No, but I really like Pauly. I hope he's back sometime.
He's not coming back.
You don't think so?
He's busy trying to become an Olympian.
I think they're their whole era's flown away, and I'm completely fine with it. Not honestly against Polly. I just don't want Kara back.
Yeah.
So after Fessy and Esther win, they have Josh and Amber talking, and Amber basically tells Josh she doesn't trust Fessy or Casey because she watched last season, and there's the whole scene where Casey's like, "Oh, I have this person, this person, this person, this person, all above Amber B. Like, she's at the bottom of my list. Who cares about her?" And then Amber B wins, and so I don't blame Amber B for being that way. Josh is just going to try to be the peacemaker with everybody.
Well, he tried to like assure her that they weren't anybody that she needed to worry about, and that he was going to talk to them.
To his credit, Fessy did consider throwing Amber in, and Josh was like, "You can't do that."
Yeah.
Again, Josh is probably a great friend. He just has like two rocks for brains that we can't figure out what he's doing when it comes to strategy.
Right.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the nominations.
So they go out to a club bar thing, and they've got the whole thing to themselves, probably just because of COVID reasons. They've probably just rented out the whole. You don't want to, be mixing a cast that's already had to quarantine twice.
This is better than having the dome.
That was out of necessity, though.
Yeah.
They just had to do that. So in there, Amanda and Fessy are flirting more. She kisses him on the cheek. That's kind of setting up more stuff. And then Ashley tells Nelson that she's got feelings for him, but she shouldn't because he's not boyfriend material, blah, blah, blah.
He kind of freaks out.
Well, he's just like, "Hey, I didn't know this is what was happening. Like, you can't do that. You can't have feelings." And then, like, goes over to Berna, and they're talking, and then that starts Ashley, which, by the way, Devin called it out completely before they went. He's like, smash cut to Ashley losing her mind at the club.
Yeah, because Ashley and Nelson were trying to reassure Emmy. She was crying at the house again.
Yeah.
They're trying to reassure her that she's not the only person on the chopping block. And then Devin's like, yeah, flash forward to Ashley.
I mean...
He called it.
Fessy goes up to Kelz and starts... I couldn't really get the gist of like what he was trying to say to him.
I couldn't figure it out.
It seemed like, hey, because you're so like such a threat, I just think you should know most people would like go after you. But he wasn't saying he would. But it's that thing with Kelz where he's just kind of like staring off, just like absorbing the information coming to him, and then this is like, what's going on? Apparently, because we find out in the nomination, Kelz is like, Fessy approached me with a deal, and I told him I'm not making deals with anybody. And
do you think that's what Fessy was really trying to do, or
Fessy's scared of him?
Do you think he came to talk to Kelz and got so flustered in close proximity to his presence that he couldn't really get out what he wanted to say?
I mean, Kelz doesn't make Fessy look small, but he
I don't think Fessy was intimidated by him in the sense that he couldn't speak, but I also think he realizes like this guy's a threat.
Yeah, like Fessy's never had anyone in the house that like matches up with him physically.
Because Fessy himself is a confident guy, and I think rightly so. But I don't think he was intimidated, but I think he recognized the threat.
I think
you don't think he's intimidated deep down?
No, I don't.
I think
I don't know anybody that wouldn't be.
I think he would be nervous to go against Kelz in an elimination.
Yeah, but that's different from being intimidated.
I don't know, man. Like, so here's the thing. Like, he does make Fessy look like a normal sized person, but like Nelson's a pretty big dude. And when Nelson came out there when Kelz was working out, Nelson looked like he was like 5'5".
But I think all these guys. I don't think any of these guys step in and are intimidated.
Oh, I think there are some that are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the majority of them, like, sure, a guy like Huey, yes, would get intimidated.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
Why
a different.
Are you throwing Huey under the bus?
He's not physically. Like, I mean, we've not seen anything from him.
Look at him physically and how he stacks up to the rest of these guys. But like Corey, Nelson, these guys who are significantly smaller than a guy like Kelz, like I don't think if they went into elimination, I don't think they're intimidated.
I don't think Nelson would be. I think Corey would talk about in his like confessional, like, hey, this is not going to be good because he's so big.
But to me, intimidation means he's in your head a little bit.
Okay.
But I just don't think I don't think if Fessy stepped into elimination with this guy tonight.
Oh, I think Fessy thinks he's got a shot, but I do also think he would be like, this is probably the one guy in the house that could take me out in Hall Brawl.
I take intimidated as in I'm worried I'm going home because of him.
I don't think. I think all these guys come in so confident, right? Like that.
I don't think Devin or Kyle would come in confident against Kelz.
But Kyle went hard against Fessy in Hall Brawl.
And I would even give this to Devin, too. Like, they may recognize him as a superior specimen, but you ain't going to tell me that Devin ain't going to go in there and be like, I'm still going to, like, do this thing. I'm going to try my best to beat this guy.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they would be...
But he's not in his head.
I'm saying they would be intimidated, but they would still try.
See, I don't think so. I don't think Kelz would intimidate Devin.
I think Devin...
Because I think
Kyle.
Devin... Or Kyle.
I think Devin's the type of guy who's like, there's an angle that I can outsmart and come ahead in this. It's like a Jordyn does in like eliminations.
I mean, my God, Kyle went down into elimination with CT and whatever the other guy's name was, and he came out.
BJ.
He beat him.
Was it BJ?
Yeah.
It wasn't BJ.
Pretty sure it was.
It was something else.
But I mean, he's beating the likes of CT, even in a daily where he had to wrestle a pole away from him.
But I thought he was intimidated then too, but just still gave it his all.
I don't know. I view intimidation differently, Han.
I guess
when I'm intimidated, I'm almost checked out because it's like I ain't got a shot against this guy, and I just don't think any of these guys walk into any elimination against CT, Kelz, Fessy, and think, well, I ain't got a shot.
No, I'm not saying that, and I'm saying specifically versus Kelz. I just feel like there's at least a handful of guys that are maybe not totally intimidated, where they're running with their tails tucked between their legs, but that there is some part of them, however small, that is intimidated by his presence. Because we talked about it at the very beginning. He is so... There's just something about him. If you're in the same room as him, it's demanding your attention. It's almost like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
It's JP. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, I think I said BJ because
You
he's
did say
from
BJ.
Brazil, but it's JP.
I just
JP
think
from Brazil.
natural... A guy who's a natural... like, 90% of these guys are just competitive to no end. And when you're wired like that...
You've got to have a, even if it's a false sense of security, you got to think you're going to win.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I just... Even in, like, a real sports world where it's like, our guy John Morant, dude, like... It's the same sort of principle. Like, he looks across at LeBron James and recognizes... This is one of the greats of all time. But do you ever see John Morant, like, intimidated by that? Not once.
No.
And that's what I'm thinking.
You're
of.
thinking every one of these guys in this house is exactly like John Morant, and
That's not what I said, Ann.
no,
That's not what I said.
But my argument is that there has to be at least some of them are even 1% intimidated by Kelz.
No.
By Kelz.
It's LeBron James, the greatest of all time.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. One of the top 5 greatest players of all time.
Currently.
Yeah, but my point is this: like, you can recognize the greatness of said individual and not be intimidated.
So you think not one man in this house is intimidated by Kelz?
I think for the most part, most of these men, you could probably throw in a couple of exceptions, but even the likes of Devin, I don't think they're intimidated by him. I think they recognize, like if Devin lines up against him in Hall Brawl, like, Devin's probably like, okay, like, do I really have a shot here?
That's not my argument. My argument was that some of them were
that's not your
intimidated.
argument.
And you just...
I know that's not your argument.
You just agreed with me.
No.
I asked you, every one of these guys in this house is not intimidated by Kelz. Not one guy in this house is not intimidated by him. I said at least some. I didn't say every one of them. I said there has to be at least some that are intimidated by him.
But you think a guy like Fessy is, though, who stands right there with him.
Fessy's arrogant enough that you could have a guy that's 8 inches taller than him, and
that's what I'm saying.
That's fine. That's fine. But I think that there's at least some guys in this house that have a small part of them intimidated by Kelz. You can't...
Huey.
Sure, Huey.
You just... Nobody will argue me. I'm not accepting arguments on this because it's not possible for
It
no
is.
one. It's not possible for no one to be intimidated by his presence.
I'll tell you.
We had a whole 10-minute discussion on his presence
But
alone.
Yeah, but again, you can recognize a presence
And still not be intimidated.
and still not be
Yeah.
intimidated. It's
I'll say,
it's not possible for no men in this house to be intimidated.
listen, we've already said Huey's here.
yeah.
Like,
But I'm saying guys who have done this, guys who have been around for
that's the thing, is
years
Kelz
now,
is still a rookie.
like that's why I'm saying like a guy like Corey, this guy's not seasoned or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like he's been around. Like
So what I was gonna say, just to hit Jake's point a little bit, is like, so competitively, like playing basketball, whatever. I don't care how good you are.
absolutely.
In fact,
this is
if-
great, Zach.
in
Thank you
fact,
for pulling. Yeah,
if you are, I know you're really good. That's just gonna make me want to.
I love it.
Yeah, like,
yes.
because when we play basketball, I'm 6 feet tall, but I play in the post. And I love it when I have bigger guys than me that guard me, because I know that they should be able to stop me. They should be able to block shots, whatever, out-rebound me. But if you know your strengths, you can outwork them. And, like, you've got to have that confidence. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, well, God, this isn't going to be any fun.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my. So like,
I get that's what he's saying.
That's not my point.
Yeah, your point is we have a guy in the house called Huey who would not want to go against
Leave
Kelz.
Huey
and
alone.
all
I feel like
bro.
I need to defend him.
I don't
No.
mind Huey, but it's just a thing. It's like these
My argument is that there are levels of being intimidated. I can be intimidated by someone's presence, but it not overtake my mind and me be checked out and give up and say, I can't win this, so I'm not going to try.
guys.
I'm saying
I have to pull up the definition to intimidation.
I'm
now.
saying
I just have to.
you can be 1% out of 100% of confident. You can be 99% confident and 1% intimidated. And you can be like, I'm a little intimidated, but I don't care. I'm going to push it aside.
have intimidating.
Oh, he's got Webster on
having
his
a
side.
frightening, overawing, or threatening effect. I do not believe he has a frightening, threatening effect on these men to the point where
I think they would be like, oh, this is going to be very hard.
yeah, but that's different.
Threatening.
Yeah, we said it was a
Threatening.
threat. That's
Yeah,
not intimidation.
Yeah.
That's not
Intimidating. Threatening effect. That was in the definition.
But
It does not have to be debilitating. I'm just saying you enter a room with him and there is some level of intimidation. It does
I don't
not
think it is
it
for
does
most of
not
these
have
guys.
to break your kneecaps and put you face down on the floor.
I think,
but it can be enough to make you notice him and be like, "Oh, I need to keep my eye on
but I
you."
think these people also live in enough of a kind of like pseudo false reality that like they're used to being the best of whatever, and like they've made it on these shows.
I think there are more competitors wired like a Derek. Let's throw it back a little bit.
Okay.
Derek, small little old Derek,
Derek
right?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Not Derek Henry.
No.
No.
Derek Kaczynski, to where like he shouldn't be able to stack up to any of these guys. But the natural competitor on the inside of you, like I think most of these guys go in thinking, I got a shot here. No matter what the odds are.
Again, that's the thing that always made Jordyn so great, was like if he was outmatched, he was like, I'm
That's another
going to
great
outwork
example.
you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying every one of these guys. I'm saying there just has to be some. There has
I
to
don't
be
think
some.
there does. I just don't think there. Yeah, I just don't think there does.
I'd have to look through the whole cast, and I don't
Yeah.
really want to do all that. But regardless, hey, do you guys feel like Ashley's confessionals are really over the top as far as I feel like she's trying to manufacture drama in her I don't know. They all seem very scripted to me. Like a lot of times in confessionals, it's just people talking about the situations that are going on, and to me, it feels like Ashley's like, all right, at this time, I'm going to say this beat, and I'm going to say this and this, and because she's like really playing up the Nelson
They
relationship
felt really
angle.
weird and really off.
Yeah, it
for
felt
her.
very scripted. Because usually she's really solid at confessionals.
All the confessionals for this episode, hers, were kind of weird.
Yeah,
There's
like,
something.
I didn't make a note about any confessionals tonight, but I was like, Ashley's confessionals seem very weird.
Yeah, they were weird.
And again, that plays into they go back to the house. Ashley's extremely drunk. She's telling Berna to leave. And Berna's like, okay, I'll leave. And she's like, no, you leave this way. And she's like, okay, I'll leave this way. It's fine. And she's just trying to cause a problem. And you got Nelson out there telling her to calm down. Amber B's trying to calm her down. Someone else is there. Huey's there to calm her down.
Because that's her partner.
Again, I don't have a problem with Huey. Don't get it twisted on that. I think Huey, it's funny to watch Huey.
I think he's funny.
Because him and Ashley's dynamic together is
chaotic.
It's like
it's such a mess.
It's like if you had like a hand blender and you're like blending up like cake batter and then someone threw like a bunch of marbles in there. It's just gonna cause problems. And like I don't know. Berna's very nice. I like Berna.
She's very pretty.
I do think she's pretty. She's an acrobat apparently. But Ashley's just looking for problems. She's looking to lash out at Nelson, and then Nelson immediately goes back to Berna after all this.
Kind of, not quite this extreme, but kind of like Camilla, when she would drink, would turn into the Camillinator. Ashley, when she drinks a lot, kind of turns into another person, where she just gets really messy.
I mean, Devin said, like, we should stop calling her Millionaire Mitchell. We should call her, like, Meltdown Mitchell. And he's onto something.
Yeah.
Well, that's been Ashley's whole career up until she won money.
He said she's had more meltdowns than she has cash.
She had, like...
Which is true.
Look at her first however many seasons. Like, she was... And I'm counting the Champs Versus and all that. Now, she had the one season where, like, her dad was sick or something. That's completely different. But, like... She was very notorious for wanting to like fight and have meltdowns and tantrums and go home, threaten to go home.
Her biggest one was somebody would say her name when there was elimination coming up, and she would get drunk and get mad and say she was quitting. She'd pack her bags, tell everybody she was leaving, and then somebody would talk her out of it and she'd stay. But she actually did quit at least once or twice.
I think at least 2 times she's quit seasons.
She quit because her luggage didn't come one time.
Yeah.
She was without clothes.
I think that was Dirty 30, maybe? It's been a while since I watched that season.
Yeah.
But she actually quit one time because she got upset with everybody in the house.
Yeah, and she did it on Champs Versus as well, from what I remember, but I've only watched those once. Devin and Josh play chess the next day. Or at least pretend to play chess. I'm not sure how well versed either of them are in it.
I bet Devin knows how to play chess.
I bet Devin knows. Do you know how to play chess?
I do not.
Do you know how to play chess?
Nope.
I do. We played it a lot.
I've never had anybody to teach me.
I know how to play spades, though.
I learned how to play chess on MSN game rooms, where you could like play with real people, but like you couldn't like actually chat. Like you had a drop down box of like 10 or 12 phrases you could use because they didn't want kids to like
nice shot.
Yeah, well,
good move
in chess. Nice shot. They didn't want like kids to be like preyed upon, which is a good job MSN because I was like 11.
That was
and,
smart wiring.
Yeah, you had no way to communicate outside of the drop down stuff, which was good shadow guarding back then. But they're pretending to play chess. Tori comes in. She's basically torn between because she knows people want to vote in Kelz. She doesn't want to vote in Kelz.
Anissa and Devin come to Tori and tell her that they're getting all of the vets to vote in Kelz.
Oh, by the way.
Anissa told Tori, she's like, you don't have to keep your vote however you want, but we're just letting you know.
By the way, I think going after Kelz is the right move game-wise. As much as I like him, if you're the vets and you're making an alliance and you're not going after a guy like CT, then Kelz is the guy to go after as far as the rookies are concerned. So I don't blame anybody as far as game moves go because that was the way to do it.
Yeah. I thought for sure, I would have put money on it that with Kelz and Tracy voted in by the house, that Fessy was going to throw in CT.
What really screws everything up is Kelz had Tori, and because of who won the last elimination, he got partnered with a really bad partner.
Yeah.
Because he chose Tori in that like block breaking thing.
Yeah.
Which was the right move.
Yeah. And but I will say Tori's still kind of overrated at this point. Like we had a big discussion in our
She would have
Slack
done
group
well
about
in this
that.
though.
Oh, in this, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
he still could have been, even if he wasn't the House vote with Tori. Let's say he's still partnered with her, he could still have gotten thrown in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which seemed to be the route that Fessy was going no matter what.
Yeah, but he could have been thrown in by Fessy, but they probably wouldn't have thrown in Tracy with her. It's kind of a double-edged sword, with him. Because if you throw in a really strong guy like Kelz, but if you throw in a really strong partner that you want to go home, that makes that team really hard to beat in an elimination. So you almost, if you have someone you're targeting, want to put them with a weaker partner and just have someone else weak go home.
So if Kelz was not the house vote, Fessy and Esther had to individually pick players, probably would have picked Kelz.
And Amy. Probably Kelz and Amy, because they both said they had a problem with Amy with the way she's been acting.
Yeah.
But, again, that's a whole other thing.
Who would have been a better partner?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we get into the nominations, and Fessy kind of opens the floor, and then Josh is like, immediately says, I don't mean to single you out, Kelz, which
but
he
I'm gonna
100% was trying to single him out, which it did work. And he just is like, hey, I've heard you've been making deals with everybody. You can't tell all the rookies you're going to promise them to make it all the way to the end and then tell all the vets you're going to make deals with them and make it all the way in. He's like, because that gets really hard and you're showing your hand and it's not a good move and people think they can't trust you.
Here's Josh's wild imagination come into play.
I honestly think that this was Josh playing smart.
I do.
You think this was smart?
He kind of said it in his confessional.
And Fessy said it too. Like, they said they were going to make it out where Kelz was making all these promises, and even if you weren't, like, people think you did. And so I legitimately think, I've head to God, I've said, hand to my music career.
That's the one.
I've said a million things about Josh, how I don't understand anything he ever does, how he's like Mr. Potato Head, where he's just hollow on the inside. Like, I don't get how he plays strategically, but I do think he was trying to manufacture drama around Kelz so people would second guess, oh, well, he's got all this heat on him already, let's just vote that way.
Was this his plan, or was it someone else's plan that he carried out?
So that was the big thing, was they're saying it was Fessy's, but the first thing we saw, now that I'm going back through my notes, was Josh was the first one to bring up Kelz to the vet group. Yeah.
Because when they were talking, Josh was saying, I guess this was later, but Josh and Fessy were talking, and were trying to figure out what guys to throw in, and he named off Corey from 12 Dates.
That was later on.
Ed and Emmanuel.
Yeah, that was later. That was after Kelz was already the house vote.
Yeah.
So Josh, to our knowledge, from what we saw, was the first person to bring up Kel's name. And I do think, honestly, he was trying to just put heat on Kelz and get people to think that there's... Because what happened last time, Michaela had a lot of negative energy heading her way from a lot of people in the house. And so even if you weren't involved in that situation, you're like, everyone's voting that way, it's easy for me to vote that way, let's just throw it there.
Yeah.
So if you can turn the house that way, it was a smart play by Josh. And Fessy, if he had... Again, as a game move, it was really smart. And Josh was lying, and Josh had no heat. But
Kelz shut it down.
To Kel's credit, he handled it. Because a lot of people in that situation, they'll freak out and be like, you're just lying, screw you,
get
whatever.
Really defensive.
Yeah. He just like calmly was like, did I make a deal with you? Did I make a deal with you? And he went after like specific like vets first too. And they were like, nope. And then he went to like more rookies, and like, he's like, so who you? He's like, you can just say if you're shook, man. Like, you could say it. And I was like, man, I was like, this guy.
And then Josh says, oh, that's a lie. And then Kelz basically tells Josh that he's not an intellectual player in this game.
Oh, it's
which is not incorrect.
It's but ironically, it was in one of the smartest game moves Josh has ever done.
Yeah.
But he was like, listen, man, he's like, if you're trying to like say like, I'm doing this and you're trying to mastermind this move, like, no one here thinks you're smart. Like, he's like, we all know better. He's like
he cut him deep.
He's like, just say you're shook. He's like, it's fine, just say it. And like, that is what's so ironic, is he is right, but then Josh is also right in this situation. But
well, Josh's comeback to that was just, oh, well, I'm voting for you. And then
which is funny.
The camera cut to Anissa, and she looked at Josh like he'd grown a second head.
Again, like, Josh is a moron. He's a nice guy, but a grade A moron when it comes to game and political moves. But like this was he's gonna be the scapegoat in this, but it was the right move, and it worked. And Kelz was the nomination. Kelz and Tracy.
Well, Fessy asked Tracy how she feels about it, and then she was basically trying not to cry in front of everybody, and I think everybody felt bad for her.
Yeah,
which I haven't seen much from Tracy. Like,
there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I haven't seen,
and it's not racist.
They haven't shown a lot of like other people in the house talking to her aside from Michelle.
I mean, you like so let's do it this way. Like, so my thing with video content or things like that, I'm thinking from this from like a production side. You can always cut down stuff. You can always take things out. But if there's nothing there to begin with, you can't manufacture something. So say you're filming and you're like, I talked for like 5 extra minutes about something that wasn't really pertaining to what we're doing, but whatever. I would much rather have that and possibly have something good to use than for you to be like, you know what, I just didn't feel like talking very much, and so I just talked for 20 seconds. Because what if that 20 seconds is so boring? And that may be what happened with Tracy, is like, yeah, we got 10 minutes of her talking to a manual about walking around the house, but who cares? Like, it's just like there's not anything to use there. I think there's a reason we haven't seen much from her. And so she does almost cry. Everyone kind of claps for her, and
like, hey, don't feel bad. You're going in.
I mean, yes, because she was like, don't forget, guys, if you vote for Kelz, you vote for me. And
I don't think anybody cared.
No. And then Devin was just basically like, all right, guys, well, why shouldn't we vote for you? And then it's at that point, it's the whole room's turned. And so they're compromised. And then Esther gives a big speech, which, again, she's wearing, I forgot the name of those dresses, but my mom has a ton of them because every time we've ever gone to Kenya or done anything over there, people gift them to her. And it's like those very specific patterns. And
they
like,
make them like specially for her when she's coming.
It's very brightly colored. Like, they're really awesome looking, and they're fabrics you only can get over there. And I just like that there's African representation because for people who don't know, my dad was born and raised in Africa, and so I like
got roots over there.
Hearing them talk, it's such a like nostalgic feeling because like even though I've never been to Nigeria, we know a lot of Nigerians from where we live, but they sound like the people that I know and am friends with from Kenya, just like the cadence and the wording they use, like the phrases that make sense grammatically, but aren't the way Americans would talk.
God have mercy. I hear that all the time.
Yeah, it's just little things that like stick out, and like at least in Kenya, they don't use contractions ever. And so if you say like, don't do that, or we can't do that, in their mind it's like we can, because they'll say cannot, like it's more proper sounding. But anyway, that's just for me. But she gave a great speech. Everyone clapped. They get up and go out of there. She tells them basically, you got to go big or go home. And that's when Fessy's talking to Josh, trying to figure out who they're going to throw in. And I thought it might be CT, to be honest.
Yeah, I was amazed. CT's name never even came up.
I think there's a vet alliance.
And Precious Logan's name was not mentioned either. Thank God.
I mean,
look at God. He's the only reason I'm getting through this season without Nom.
Well, again, they're worried about Kelz right now. Logan, probably his time will come, but at the same time, currently he's partnered with Anissa, who is not a threat in a final in this current state.
And she's part of the Vet Alliance.
Yeah, and so he's protected on that side. And so they're discussing, what was it, Emmanuel, Ed, and Corey
12 dates.
Yeah, and so they've already seen what Corey can do because he basically single-handedly won that elimination last time. And that's when Fessy talks about throwing in Amber B. And Josh just stick up for her, and he kept his word. He's like, I'm not going to let that happen, and he does. And so they go to the lair, which I forgot that's what it's called, where the eliminations are. And what wasn't last week, the guys got to pick the girl as the first vote, and then the girl got to pick the guy as the first vote?
I just think they may be flipping it around.
Yeah.
Alternating it.
I think that's what it was. because
Yeah, they picked Corey first
Anissa selected Corey, and then Logan selected Michelle.
Because he was mad that Emmy didn't get
exactly
because that was the whole point.
So this time TJ says, "Hey Esther, you're picking the female," and we still don't know what happens if they disagree. But
I don't think anybody's going to.
She picks Emmy, and her reasoning was she kind of caused chaos and some problems in the house last time.
Well, Emmy started crying.
Yeah, I mean, Emmy's a lot of things.
I think she's very emotional.
Clearly,
I think she wears her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah.
But she clearly has this ability to like power through it.
Yeah.
And still like function.
Well,
within
that's
the
why
game.
somebody, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said you've got to be really tough to get through all of Survivor
for 5 months.
For 5 months eating leaves and then coming straight to this.
Did she win Survivor?
No idea.
Jake, you didn't watch Survivor Romania?
No, I didn't.
If she didn't, then Emmanuel did.
I don't think they're on the same season.
I thought they were because they said they knew each other.
I think that's.
Would that be the case though? That if she didn't win, he had to have won.
There's only 2 people on the whole show.
No, one of them won that season.
We know that.
Yeah, they said it in the car ride on the first episode when they were coming into the house.
See, I don't remember that.
I remember Tommy and Michelle won their seasons,
and then
Michaela was
did
the one that didn't win.
Yeah. So she was on Survivor Romania 1, and no, no. Spoilers for Survivor Romania 1, which, by the way, their first season was last year. Emmanuel was a runner-up, and Emmy was not even in the top 4.
Oh.
I think you're thinking they're Survivor US people.
Maybe.
Because,
I thought she called him.
The current one just ended, and that they weren't on there.
Well, regardless, she just went through the mental and physical toughness of Survivor.
Yes.
And then came straight here where she's got to be mentally tough. I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how far she made it because there's a lot of people on here. And again, these wiki things on your phone are not great. They were on the same season, but she got voted out on day 127. And so she was, I think, the last person, or next to last person before like the final 4.
Oh, okay.
But
they were on the same season.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did know
Well,
that.
there's only been one.
But like that's what I'm saying is like they were on the same season, and that's how they knew each other.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realize that because what's her name? Berna is from Survivor Turkey, which is what Turbo is from. But I don't know if they were on the same seasons or not. Anyway, they pick Emmy. She cries and she freaks out, and then they pick Ed, and I get it. And I was like, man,
I hate to lose one of these guys.
One of these guys is going home. I was like, I feel like just if you're stacking them, Ed and Emmy are a stronger team than Kelz and Tracy.
Yeah.
But even though Kelz is probably the strongest one overall, he's 1, Ed's probably 2, Emmy's 3, and then Tracy's like 6. Like there's.
You skipped 4 and 5.
Yeah, I did. I think if they would have gave Kelz a rope that he could pull himself back up, he would have done all of it on his own.
He probably would have dominated.
That's what I'm saying.
Would have had much more success doing that. Yeah, Zach, you pointed out, you look at these 4 together, and it's a case of which one of these does not belong.
It's who
one of these things is not like the
it's
other.
It's literally the weakest part was what was going to be the downfall of the team.
And I said it like when all the talk was going around about throwing Kelz in, I was like, that's going to be a problem.
Yep.
It's Tracy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, if they were the house vote, he was going to be at a severe disadvantage unless it was something where it's like you do rounds and he could win his round, and even if she lost hers, you could do a head-to-head with him against whoever.
Also would have been a problem if Big T was his partner. See what I did there?
Yeah.
You're sure not to leave her out.
I'll give Big T probably would have beat Tracy in some, whatever the elimination was.
Zach? I will give her that.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Big T wouldn't give up. She'd give it her all. Tracy, I think, was ready to give up in the middle of it because
she was intimidated.
Yes,
that's intimidation.
She said that she needed Kelz to be more supportive, and he was just angry.
And he
and
really
I was
didn't
like,
get angry.
He did not. I didn't get anything like that from him. I think you were just whatever, checked out.
Well,
You know why? Because she was intimidated.
She was. I think she's intimidated by everybody.
Amy breaks down. She keeps yelling out to Mr. TJ, and which I do think is funny.
I think is like the greatest thing. Mr. TJ.
I've already named the episode Mr. TJ on here. I didn't
Yes.
even have to consult you guys.
Yes.
And it's cute that he now refers to her as Miss Emmy. Too.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I love it so much, Mr. TJ.
So they find out it's something called flipping agents, which basically they're like, hey, you can decide whichever one of your partners is the one flipped over and grabbing the things.
I'm here for these creative eliminations.
This was a fun one.
I don't mind this elimination at all. And honestly, if Tracy wouldn't have dropped 2 or 3 of those, it would have been pretty close.
I think they could have won.
I mean, their map was nowhere near in the right position at the end.
But she dropped like every box.
I think that they were just scrambling at that point to get stuff up on the board and hope something worked out. Basically, we did find out like halfway through that there are only 2 magnetic sides per box. So there's 6 sides to a cube, but there's only 2 that are magnetic, and so that's why it wasn't as easy to like pull them up. I don't know, man. I mean, we all watched it at this point. I mean, Tracy just dropped some boxes, and there was nothing. It wasn't like because Ed pulled the rope too fast. It's just she got too ahead of herself and like pulled the magnet off the weight of the box instead of like pulling it up and grabbing it. I mean, I don't blame her if it happens once or twice, but it seems like it happened more than that.
Several times.
And so I think she got flustered, and they lost.
This is where we got the great quote from Tatcha. Oh my God, Tracy, it fell off again. God have mercy.
Yeah, again, Tatcha doing big numbers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Tatcha.
And then Walmart Wes was, quote, on the edge of his toes. Which is not. To which I made a note. Do we have another Nelson in the house?
Oh, that's discredit, and good and bad to Nelson. That's a discredit to how watchable and how many great quotes he gets us. It's also a discredit to Tommy's intellectual abilities to compare him to Nelson when it comes to that. Because Nelson's a lot of things, but he's not. He's not a big thinker.
I live for Nelson on Nelson. These seasons. He's one of my favorites.
Oh, and
his quotes are incredible.
We have to correct ourselves because Jake and I mistakenly said last episode that Nelson and Amanda came in from X on the Beach. We know that that's not the case. It's
you said it. Not
I did say it. Suit. Yeah, but like you didn't jump in, and so it's from Are You the One? We know that it was just it's one other MTV show we didn't watch, and so we know that because I hated the Are You the One people at first, and then Devin. Changed my mind.
I didn't mind Cheyenne.
Honestly, in hindsight, Are You the One has been a phenomenal casting source compared to where they've been pulling a lot of these other people from.
Where did Corey come from?
Ooh, Real World Skeletons or something like that. A season I didn't watch.
So he was a Real World kid.
Yeah,
okay.
Him and like Tony Raines and some people were on that like last era.
I miss Tony Raines.
That kid will eat whatever you give him.
He will, and he'll put it away.
But anyway, Are You the One is giving us some real staying power with some people on this show. I mean, Devin, Nelson, Amanda. I'm sure there are others I can't think of off the top of my head because it's 1:15 in the morning. So Ed and Emmy win.
Emmy says Ed is the smartest guy alive.
Which he might be the smartest guy in the house.
He might be.
He's an Ivy League engineer. But they win. I thought they might stick together, but they kind of like amicably like decided like, no, we're both going to split up and go our own ways.
They realized it was a better move in the long run to split up and go with veteran players each, because that was going to keep them safe.
Jake, can you look up Tori Deal's stats for me, please?
Well, I was just about to ask you, like, who is a girl in the house that you'd rather have
than Tori?
Yeah.
Who were all the girls in the house?
Well, just for devil's advocate, it'd be hard for me to pick this, but Amber B did win last season. She is a winner.
I was going to say Amanda.
I do have a list right here.
But Amanda's never made a final.
She hasn't.
She has no real. I mean, I would imagine
her and Nelson were a solid team when they first came in, but they didn't like kill it or anything.
She and Zach killed it when they could get along, but
they went home because they were
they
morons.
went home because they wouldn't. They were too stubborn.
I mean, honestly, now that I'm looking at the full list,
yeah, now you know why
We're
she keeps getting picked.
At veteran girls, right?
I mean, Ashley Mitchell has.
You're right. The challenge wiki layout on
It's awful. You got to turn it sideways on mobile.
Ashley Mitchell, except the last couple seasons,
I know.
she's gone home really early, and she's already had one meltdown due to Nelson.
I mean,
She would not be my pick this season.
So here, this was a big discussion in the Slack group this week.
She's 3-3 in eliminations, by the way.
Again, nothing to write home about. Is like they
made 2 finals, by the way.
They were, but never won.
Never won.
They were, in fact, she was one of the cutoffs in War of the Worlds too that didn't even make it to the last part of the final.
Who was the other girl we were talking about?
Amanda.
Yeah. Well, in the Slack group, they were talking about Tori versus and I was like, give me Cam all day long. And the argument was like, well, Cam's really great at eliminations, but she's never been great at a lot of other things. And I was like, I don't even care. I was like, I'll take Cam every day of the week over Tori right now.
Amanda is 1-4 in eliminations and has never made a final.
Yeah. How many? She's only done like 3 seasons?
1, 2, 3,
4,
4, 5, 6.
She's done 6 seasons?
This is
Dang.
her 6th season.
Dang.
Yeah. She was on Rivals 3, Invasion of the Champions,
Which
30-30.
Rivals 3 shouldn't count as a full season because she came in like halfway through.
No, it was like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Was it? I didn't remember it's that early.
It was early on.
Okay.
Rivals 3, Invasion of the Champions, 30-30, Final Reckoning, War of the Worlds, and this season.
She was on War of the Worlds?
Yeah, because she told Kari she hopes her horse dies.
I thought that was Invasion.
I mean, that's my point is like, who's a better option? Kind of a weak crop of girls, if we're being honest. Just purely because the rookies, we don't know.
Yeah.
But as far as vets go, it's really when Anissa and Tori,
Ashley Mitchell,
and Ashley are your top 3. That's pretty weak.
So now looking at it, I do get why Tori is being picked. If it were me, I might take the Survivor girl over any of them.
Berna?
Maybe.
No, I'm sorry, Michelle. That won her season of Survivor.
And that won
an elimination that already went in. And also, it seems to love doing all the dailies and stuff so far. It's not clear-cut now, just laying it out in full perspective, because the rookies are such an unknown. But I don't know. I feel like in the challenge meta that Tori's considered a lot higher up as like a commodity than what she is in actuality.
Casey's a vet.
Totally forgot she was on the show.
I forgot about Casey.
Oh, holy moly.
I was
fitting.
I was staring at this list like, why are there only five veteran girls?
You know what? When we first, 5 minutes ago, when we first started talking about this, I was going to say I might take Casey even though she's not fun to watch because I know she's not going to quit and she just made the final and tore a patellar tendon and still tried to do it. And then in the midst of us talking and looking over all the names, I just completely wrote her off.
I totally forgot Casey was on here. Nani!
Yeah, I wouldn't pick Nani.
I wouldn't pick Nani either, but I forgot she's on this
Nani was on the
season.
show.
I totally forgot about Nani, too.
Casey, I think, from a purely a competitive standpoint, I think she should be the...
She should be the
clear pick.
She should be the pick. Because not only does she have the Vet Alliance, she's also got the Big Brother Alliance, too.
And she's not going to quit.
And she's not going to quit.
She made 2 finals? She made last season. Mm-hmm. What did she do her first season?
Guys... We don't remember that she's even on this season.
It's incredible.
You want me to think of what she did 2 seasons ago?
For someone actually really good at the game,
she is.
To forget that she's here is a pretty special feat.
And it was completely by accident.
Totally by accident.
No, it was not on purpose. Not for the whatever.
Let me find.
I can't believe we forgot about her because she's.
I can't believe it.
I can't
because
I can't believe it.
She would actually be my pick.
I think she might be my pick.
Maybe
too.
that's the same problem the
They
guys
forgot
are
she was
having.
there.
They
They keep
forget she's
forgetting about
there.
Her and Nani are probably off in the corner all the time by themselves, and then they're
Just
like
making out and stuff.
Yeah.
And
They're like, who's that? Who's here? Who can we pick from?
What's her name again?
Yeah.
You got the NES tattoo on her?
She does. What did she do in her first season? Again, this page is awful.
What would that have been? Total Madness?
Yeah.
I really don't remember what she did.
She did Total Madness.
I don't remember.
Double Agents and Spies, Lies, and Allies.
We need to know what she did in Total Madness.
She came in second.
In
Do
the
you even
final?
remember that, though?
No.
What?
No, but she did. She came in second on Total Madness.
I don't.
No way.
I don't even remember that.
She won the final daily. I don't know. This format's a little confusing, but it says final challenge second. And she beat Kayla in an elimination that episode. It's the only elimination she had. Called Bombs Out, which I vaguely remember, where they had all the bomb, like medicine ball bombs. And then the next season, she made it to the final and came in fourth. I think it's so funny.
She'll be remembered for that because of the Fessy didn't eat thing.
But because she finished second in the season before and we all forgot.
It's incredible. That is an amazing feat because she's good. She's actually really
She is good.
But my God, is she
That's
boring.
so funny.
How did that happen?
That's so funny.
She is. Is there anyone ever who's been so good at this show that you just forget
Exists.
that they're there?
She got beat by Jenny West for the female side of things. Bananas won, obviously, a 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jenny won. And then Kyle was the runner-up. I didn't remember Kyle was the runner-up, to be fair to Casey.
I think I did.
And so that's just so funny that she is clearly the pick because she's done 3 seasons. She's made the final in 2 of them, and this is her 3rd season. And
That's pretty mind-boggling.
we all just forgot about her. So
Casey would be my pick. Honestly, I'm really glad to see that Emmy and Ed are staying in the house because I have grown to really like Emmy. I think she's really funny. I think she's a little chaotic and wild.
I said last week,
unpredictable.
she's like if you took Angelica from the Rugrats and sent her to like Romania for 12 years, and then she also became a juggalo. And that's like the energy she brings to everything.
I kind of love it.
I
I kind of love it.
I do think it's super fun to watch.
I do too.
I know a lot of people don't like her already.
I don't get it.
No,
it's weird.
I kind of love her, and I didn't want Ed to go.
No.
Because he's kind of chaotic.
Has
in
there
his
ever been
own
someone
way.
in such a short amount of time that we've universally been like, we like that
We
guy?
But that's a
love this
lot of
guy.
these rookies this season.
But he didn't even come into like the last 5 minutes of episode 1.
And I loved him immediately.
Like he's been on 1 episode, and we were like, we hope this guy's
we're
back.
sold out on this guy.
We were bummed he was going into an elimination.
I was glad
Yeah.
to have him replace Nom for my fantasy team.
yeah,
I really
I
was.
think you came out better on that.
Yeah.
I'm excited that Ed is still here because he seems pretty wild, and I can't wait to see what else he does. But I am really bummed to see Kelz leaving. I legitimately thought he had potential to make it to the final.
Kelz will be back.
He better be.
100%. I think if you're doing the next season and you're looking at casting, you're like, we got to see what this guy can do.
I think so.
Anytime they showed like his confessionals or him speaking, it just felt like I was watching Idris Elba, and there was something in me that like was filled by watching that. Not in like a weird way. Like I love watching Idris Elba. Like it's just so.
She's gonna love Knuckles and
It is
Sonic
so-
the Hedgehog
Oh,
too.
God.
It's so like captivating, and like I could just sit and watch Idris Elba in anything and just be satisfied for the
Well, now
rest of my life.
she's got to watch
And
Sonic
so
the
like
Hedgehog 1.
like I got it. It reminded me so much of Idris Elba to watch.
He's the
Kelz.
snake from the Jungle Book.
And I want to see Kelz on my television at all times now.
That was the last time you and I went out, Zach. We went to see Sonic together.
You guys went on a date.
We did.
We actually did go by ourselves.
Because I didn't want to go.
We went to see arguably a kids movie together.
Which was solid. It
was-
like
yeah,
it's a
it was
good
fun
like
watch.
B+.
He's still trying to get me to watch that movie.
I'm
It's a
gonna.
good movie.
He tried while I had COVID, and I was like, I'm not watching that.
It's a good movie.
Well, anyway, Kelz will be back. I don't think there's a chance that he's not like top 10 on a call sheet for next season. And so Ed steals Tori, which I get it. We fleshed it all out. And then Emmy
screams out, "Devin!"
Which is so funny. TJ starts laughing, like doubled over laughing when it happened. And it's just like...
I love it. I love it.
I just think it's so funny that Devin has now twice been picked over every single other person in the house.
Two very different types of competitors.
Yeah.
I would understand it from Emmy if she did it day one. I didn't understand it from Michelle necessarily, but it's just funny that he is like the hot commodity that everyone wants to partner with.
Well, Devin's quote was, "Picked over CT, picked over Kyle. I'm the best. Eat my shorts."
Very Bart Simpson. And that's so funny, like, because obviously we love Devin, but like never in a million years would I be like, oh, you can steal partners. Devin's gonna be the one everyone steals.
Not CT, not Kyle,
not the guy who won last season.
Yeah.
He's laid very low so far this season.
He's not.
That's what he did last season.
I mean, he literally did hide behind the cinder blocks to start off with, but I don't know. I love that Devin is the number one coveted player right now.
It's so funny
because it might just become a thing where if another rookie wins an elimination, like, well, they're picking Devin for some reason. I better pick him, and that's just.
It seems to be the running joke with Tori too.
It has been Tori and Devin both times who were partnered together last season, and
they did pretty well together.
But it's understandable to pick Tori.
Yeah,
not so much with Devin.
I just think it's so funny.
I love it so much. And it, like, part of me feels like Emmy picked him because it's a running joke now. And she's like, oh, they picked Devin. Yeah, let's keep it going.
My analogy where I said, like, you had a mixing bowl where you just threw marbles into it. In this scenario, you don't even have a bowl. You just have cake mix on your counter, and then Devin is just more marbles that comes in there. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. But
it's there, and it's funny to look at.
It's those weird Facebook videos that are cooking videos that are made to do weird things so people watch and share them and comment. Like, oh, can you believe they put Fruity Pebbles in their toilet? Who would do that?
And then drank it?
Yeah.
There is a video like that.
I know.
They made punch in a toilet.
So that's a thing. Like, that's what Devin and Emmy are. They're those insane things that you like, why is this happening, but also I can't stop watching it
and I want to watch more.
So that happens, and now Corey 12 and Michelle are partners, and that's this episode.
Well, Corey 12 dates and Michelle were partnered in that last elimination, and dominated. So I mean, this may be a good pairing for the two of them.
And here's the thing, stuff is happening so much, like so quickly, that there's potentially going to be 3 new partnerships every single episode. And that is...
I didn't even think about that.
An insane thing. I'm just going to delete Lauren off of this thing. Because Amber B is taking over for her. And, I mean, let's get into the superlatives. What do you guys have for who smashed some heads?
Smashed heads, Devin, one for calling the Ashley drunk freak out before it happened, and then also for staying the number 1 draft pick 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy that had almost nothing to do with this episode other than talking to people about Kelz, he might be what I remember the most out of this. Jake, who you got?
Oh, let's see. Who is smashing heads? You know what? I'll give it to Ed for multiple backflips throughout this episode.
He did.
Was that him that was doing that?
Yeah.
Well, he did it after he won the elimination.
I saw it after the elimination, but I noticed someone at the club did it, but I didn't see who it was.
It was Ed.
Did you see...
is that like his thing?
Maybe.
I mean, if I could backflip like that, I'd probably just do it a lot.
So it like is backflipping going to be Ed's thing, like the Dragon Ball Z thing was Turbo's thing?
Maybe.
Because he did that after, like, anytime he won a daily or won an elimination.
Well, if that's the type of guy he's modeling himself after, then he's going to win this whole season.
What if he does?
Because Turbo won that first season.
He did.
and then he got in a fight with Jordyn and got sent home the next one.
Yeah.
So for me, who smashed some heads? Never in a million years would I have expected this to happen. Josh's fake drama.
Yeah.
Josh did it.
It worked.
Okay.
He got called out on the spot and told everyone how big of an idiot he was, which is not untrue, but it did work. So who got their head smashed?
Kelz and myself for watching Kelz go home.
I can't give it to Kelz because I feel like he handled everything in a very collected way.
But he was partnered up with Tracy, who lost him that elimination,
that
and
is
that's
true.
not his fault.
That's true.
That happened to him.
I'm going to go Ashley because Berna kind of smashed her head with kindness.
No, Ashley's a very, very solid pick for this one.
And she's admitted she's catching feelings for Nelson, and Nelson was like,
Again, you never want to try to date someone who's been on Dr. Phil for cheating so much. No,
Jake, did you ever watch that?
No disrespect to Nelson.
You've got to watch it.
I'm gonna say, Amy got her head smashed multiple times in this episode by heights, by being picked,
By feeling inferior?
yeah, all that stuff, and then she came out and still prevailed anyway. So I'll give it to Amy, even though she did come out, like a ray of sunshine on the other side. So for your picks for this week for pop culture, song, videos, if you wanted to plug a YouTube video or something, a TV show,
Next week.
whatever you feel like. What are you doing?
I think last week my notes I had the Scooby-Doo from 2005
You definitely
specifically because that's the one I used to watch all the time. I guess I'm going with another series. I'm going with Ted Lasso because I reference it a lot. Referenced it today. Got to be like a goldfish.
Dead.
Yep.
Again, Ted Lasso is great if you haven't watched it yet. Jake?
It's not too often that when I'm going with a song this week. A lot of these, you guys know I like metalcore in particular. And the general layout for these bands nowadays is they'll release 3, 4, 5 singles as to hype up their upcoming album.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
The band is called Volumes. The song is called Get Enough. And there aren't a lot of moments when a song drops and I audibly in my living room out loud am just like, oh my God, what a banger. These guys came for the head or the throat. Is that the expression? They came for it with this song.
Stop punching my chairs.
It's emphasis.
You said all of this in your living room?
I really did. Like, I couldn't believe how hard this song went. And it is incredible. Volumes, Get Enough.
I was going to do a song, but I think I'm going to save it to next week.
Mix it up.
Well, no, I'm going to do... I did a TV show last week, this is not a TV show. Bo Burnham's Inside.
I figured you would have done that last week.
No, I picked Barry last week, but Bo Burnham's Inside is, at this point, a lot of people have probably seen it. It came out like in June.
It's really good.
It's one of my favorite things I've ever watched just in general, and it's not like a comedy special. It's just its own. It exists in its own universe, and you probably either love it or hate it. I
hate that kind of stuff.
It's a piece of media art.
I think it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. From
I can
top to
recognize
bottom.
like how unique it is, but I am not into that kind of it doesn't pique my interest at all.
When I watched it, I was very entertained, but watching it the second time, I realized it really encapsulated how I felt through quarantine last year because I was not doing well.
I listen to the album all the time just on its own, just the songs. Like, they're so well written, they're so catchy. Some of them are very stupid, but anyway, just check it out. Go into it open-minded. So let's get into all the fantasy stuff. And Jake, you're going to have to remind me of things.
What am I reminding you of?
I don't remember who the sponsor was because he changed it twice last episode.
Skechers, Go Running.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was Keds initially.
It was, but
Yeah.
you don't run in Keds. You run in Skechers.
I don't run in either of them.
All right. Well, you're not doing any running in them Crocs.
I have run in both.
Oh, you can run in Crocs. You just put that backstrap on, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, are we ready? Is it Gabbo or Gabbo? Gabbo.
Gabbo.
Gabbo was curious about Ed. 5 points to Gabbo.
Precious little Gabbo.
Let's see. Ed with the quote, "I'm a powerhouse." 5 points.
Oh,
I
Ed's
have
not
Eds.
even on here because it has Nom still.
My team.
Yeah, okay. I got to take Nom off. Here we go. All right. 5 points.
Yes.
All right.
Ed came here to cause chaos. We're here for chaos. 10 points. He's also an Ivy League engineer. We talked about that a lot. That's 15 points right there. We got Headband Nelson in the back. 5 points. Nelson wants to show Ed a good time. 5 points to Nelson for being
He did. He really was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Ed,
He
this
was
is
like,
happening.
let me introduce you to the house and the fun.
We'll give 5 points to Big T. They started chanting her name. I can't remember why, but we had a Big T chant going.
Her outfit for the club.
I don't remember anything about that.
It was a little two-piece.
Gabbo's dream is American television. 5 points. Another 5 because he's on it.
He made it.
Michelle is infatuated with Emmanuel. I don't.
That's for Kayla.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We'll also give 5 to Emmanuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a dancer in real life.
I've got him. Yeah.
Did you see them moves?
Tori stuck her head between Kel's legs. 5 points to Kel's. Actually, give it 10.
All right. Okay. 1 for each leg.
Yeah. We get a Tori Kel's love session. 10 points each.
Yeah, I just got to find Tori because
Bottom.
it's hard to remember who's on whose team because it's only second time.
We get a Nelson and Berna love session. 10 points. We also get a Nelson and Ashley love session. 10 points.
Man, you took Berna 4th overall.
I did. It may not have been a great pick.
Ashley and Nelson.
Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna give an additional 20 to Nelson for the double dipping.
Oh, people are going to say you're sexist for that.
Great.
You're rewarding guys for cheating.
Well,
You would have done it for
yes,
a girl
if you
who
wanna
did
get-
it
if
too.
yeah, I would have. If you want to throw a hissy fit because I gave Nelson some made up fantasy points, then go ahead.
I'm
going
going to
to
make an account and go after you because you got me blocked on the other one.
Ashley always has fun when Nelson comes to bed. There you go. 10 points to Ashley.
Yeah, she didn't say if he had fun or not.
Yeah. Let's see. We got the bottom bunk whores, Nelson and Ashley. Another 10 points. Let's see. Early signals of Kel's being targeted. That's -5. But he's also the rookie ringleader, supposedly. 5 points. You know what? 10 points to Fessy for being committed to Ramadan. Huey thinks this daily sounds like so much fun. 5 points. Let's see. Jeremiah and Tatcha mean mug the camera before their daily. That's 5 points. Jeremiah was one hand grabbing those what were they, pearls?
Gym bags.
Gym bags. We'll give him 10 points for that. That is that's real talent.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a track star. 5 points.
He did say he was a track star.
Bettina's laughing. -10. I think she's only going to get negative points.
God
throughout the
dang it,
season.
she's my last pick. I would have had Amber B if I picked the racist girl.
And she also wouldn't stop laughing. That's another -10. Also seemed to have a negative impact on Corey. -5.
To Corey.
Yes.
Hey!
Yeah. Let's see. Emmanuel with the quote, "Girl, just make it rain." 5 points. Emmy hates heights. I can relate, but that's a -5. But she will kill all of her phobias. 10 points. She has a goggles full of tears. -10.
Jeez.
But Ed, we got encouraging Ed over here. 5 points.
Oh, he was for sure.
But Emmy still breaks down. -5. Amanda started dancing up in the helicopter. 10 points. Berna likes the way Nelson runs. 5 points to Nelson.
Right under Amanda. Oh.
What?
Nelson, not Berna?
Nelson,
Okay.
yes. Josh lost his partner, -5, but got a serious upgrade, 20.
Wow.
Where is Josh?
Up
Okay.
top.
So -5 and then 20. Let's see.
Woo!
I'm sorry, guys.
That'll wake you up.
Fessy doesn't want her here, though. -5
To her?
to Fessy. We decided that Amber wasn't getting... We're just going to call her Amber this season. We decided Amber wasn't getting any points because...
It's gonna be hard for me to not say
Yeah.
Amber B.
Yeah, Amber B. Amber B's not getting
Yeah.
points.
So unless someone, just for clarity's sake, anyone listening, if like say Nani got medically DQ'd, Amber B would then be on my team. We would then count her points from then on out. I guess you would count Nani's points up until she got DQ'd. This is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
And then if she goes home, we would put Amber B in that place.
Right.
But until Amber B
Jake's not ignoring her.
hypothetically replaces someone for a disqualification for like medical or emergency reasons, we're not counting her points until then.
Until she's on the team, we're not counting her points.
Yeah.
That, pretty much, yeah. Fessy just wasn't dropping anything. I don't think he dropped anything. 5 points. Let's see. But he seemed extremely sour the whole daily. -10.
He also had been fasting all day.
Yeah. Fessy and Esther win 25 points each. They are safe. I have Esther. She's my last pick.
There you go.
They are safe. That's another 15 points each. They are also the agency. That is another 15 points.
Yep.
All right. So, Huey gave himself the L sign on his forehead for loser. -5.
He did. I saw that and I was like, what's he doing?
Emmy is still paranoid. -5. We got backflipping Ed, 10 points. 10 points to Fessy for kisses from Amanda. I wouldn't mind them.
Okay.
Amanda's pretty.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's obvious if you watch the show.
Let's see. Ashley is catching feelings. -5. I like this quote from Kelz. We don't need to rock the boat. We just need to sail the wave.
Yeah.
I wrote that one down. That's a good one.
10 points. Nelson doesn't like Berna because of the way she looks, but because of who she is. 5 points to Berna. Let's see. We get a Nelson and Ashley spat. 10 points.
A piece.
Yes.
We reward fighting on here.
They both called Berna Bertha. That's -5 to each of them.
I figured it'd be negative points to Berna.
Hold on a second. -10 to Berna because no one can remember her name.
Amber did. Amber B.
Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
So, let's see. You know what? We'll give Ashley 5 points for the drunken rampage. Let's see. She seems to be turning into Ashley Meltdown Mitchell. That's -10. All right, we didn't talk about this, but
Okay.
Han thinks Berna has pretty fingers. 5 points. There was a whole conversation happening during the episode tonight where I guess Han can somehow notice everyone's nail beds, which is just bizarre.
That's been a thing that's been talked about on the show before.
Yeah, because I've talked about Cara Maria has really pretty nail beds.
We're not mentioning her.
But we talked about, I brought it up because I said Berna is very pretty. And then I said she also has very pretty fingers.
Which is what I replied and said, I don't think I've ever said that about anyone in my whole life.
All right, well, we're going to give 10 points to Devin and Josh for their chess match.
All right, I see Josh, but I don't see Devin.
Devin's on mine.
There we go.
Boy, Han, your
Han is
points
not
are
getting
No,
scary.
I've not gotten anything.
Holy moly. I liked when Kelz started asking everybody if he'd made them a promise. Give him 5 for that. Kelz called Josh dumb. 10 to Kelz and -10 to Josh because that stands to reason. But he's making strategic moves. I got to give him 15 for that.
Yeah.
Anissa can't believe it. 5 points.
She's on my team.
There you go.
We get a hand clap for Esther's speech, 15 points, because she saw a little speech. And we get a sympathy clap for Tracy, 5 points.
I don't even know where there's
Tracy's on my team too.
Man, you picked Tracy over Priscilla and Corey 12.
Who's Priscilla?
And Casey, right? Isn't that how that-
You picked her over Casey, who I took next.
And Big T
and Esther. These were all unknown. I mean, to be fair, and sorry to Corey 12, but when your resume is just 12 dates of Christmas, we don't know a lot yet.
Well, the thing is, I know how we've talked about how boring Casey is. I didn't want to take her in the place of somebody else that would at least cause drama.
To be fair, Casey has currently 0 points right now. So.
Exactly. Thank you. That makes my point.
Okay, -25 to Tracy and Kelz for being compromised. Let's see. Everyone wants Kelz to unravel, but he ain't doing it. 5 points. He also said he's taking everyone's head off. I'm going to give him 15 points for that. Fessy's still holding grudges, -10. This is when he wanted to vote Amber B in. Big T likes dungeons, 5 points. Also supposedly uses handcuffs in the bedroom. We'll give her 5 points.
I didn't hear that.
She did, and then she immediately said, I've never actually done that.
Oh.
So she should get -5.
Oh, fine. Give her -5, Zach. Let's see. -25 to Emmy and Ed for getting voted in here. Emmy is around a bunch of snakes. -5. She called TJ Mr. TJ again. 5 points. But she's a wreck. -10.
Yeah, she cried a lot even after she said Mr. TJ.
Went even deeper by saying her whole childhood was like this.
Yeah.
-10.
Yeah, that really hurt me.
Yeah, it was sad.
Hey, but Ed's having a fun time and in good spirits, though. 5 points. You said it, Zach. Tracy isn't supposed to be here. -15.
Thank you.
Oh, God, she's already got so many negative points. She had 0 last week, by the way.
Emmy is going to lose her stomach. -5. Corey 12 at one point said, "Keep the rhythm." 5 points.
Do you think he likes Cool Runnings?
Maybe.
Feel the rhythm, feel the ride. Come on in, it's bobsled time.
He also said he was going to clutch his pearls there at the end.
Tatcha just said, "God have mercy." 10 points. Tracy's family's motivating her. 5 points. Tommy is on the edge of his toes. 5 points.
God, he hasn't got me anything this episode.
According to Anissa, Emmy's getting these points, but according to Anissa, Emmy will die out here before she gives up. 10 points to Emmy.
Mm-hmm.
According to Emmy, Ed's the best engineer in the world. 10 points to Ed.
What if he legitimately was the best engineer in the world, and this is how he's using his brain?
Maybe.
I think that'd be really funny.
She also said he's the smartest guy alive, but that's another 10 points. 75 to Ed and Emmy for winning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you really did up the points this season.
-50 to Kelz and Tracy for losing. Emmy got into a medal stance.
Yeah,
I like to give her 10 points for that. Let's see. We get backflipping Ed again. That's another 10 points.
you've given him 30 points for backflips in this episode alone.
Are you seeing anybody else backflipping?
No.
I want to give 15 points to Kelz for the "it's nothing personal, it's just business" quote. What a way to go out.
Perfect attitude.
Fessy got what he wanted. 10 points. So did Josh. We'll give him 10 for that. TJ called Emmy Miss Emmy. 10 points. I want to give them -10 for breaking it up.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen them together.
I would have too.
I thought they would stick together, honestly.
I wanted them to.
5 points to Tori and Devin for being infiltrated. We're going to give 10 points to Devin. Actually, 20 points to Devin for being picked over the likes of CT,
and
Fessy.
You couldn't pick Fessy today, to be fair.
Right, but just in general, he's the first pick, right? 2 weeks in a row, so 20 points there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your fantasy points of the week, fantasy segment of the week, brought to you by none other than Skechers Go Running. We will now take a break so that Zach can do a little bit of math here and tally up these points. And we're back. Again, that break, this whole segment is brought to you by none other than Skechers
Go Running.
So,
here we go. Take us in, Zach. You got the numbers?
We had to listen to the end of last week's episode because I lost my Post-it note, and because Jake left in the middle of recording, I didn't update the Google Doc, which had the final scores for everyone. So at the end of last week, Jake was in third place with 125 points. I was in second with 210, and Hannah was in first with 260. This scoring system Jake is doing this season, winning dailies scores a lot for you, and losing eliminations or even being just voted into an elimination really swings very swiftly in one direction or the other.
Wasn't it negative 50 for losing an elimination last season too?
No, it was negative 25 and plus 50 if you won.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and you anyway, the points have just kind of fluctuated. So after this week, it is completely flipped.
Uh-oh.
Jake was in last at 125. Again, I was in second at 210. Hannah was in first at 260. Hannah miraculously lost points overall. Like, her whole total for this week has brought her total score down. So she went from 260 last week to 250 total this week. Because
I only lost 10 points.
Yeah, but because Tracy got you negative 80 for the week. Michaela got me negative 95 last week.
I thought Tracy would have got you. Yeah,
She got negative 80.
She wasn't on the board very much.
And so Hannah had 3 people that got zeros for her. And then,
Who were they?
I don't have that written down off the top of my head. That's last week. So this week for who got Hannah zeros.
Wow, Kyle was
Kyle.
non-existent on this episode.
Logan.
Devin got her 35. Corey got her negative 5. Anita got her 5. Logan got 0. Tori got 15. Tasha got 15. Tracy got negative 80. Priscilla 0. Corey 12 got 5. So not very much scoring there.
Yeah.
I'm barely on the board.
If you didn't have
for this
Devin,
week.
you would have been really screwed.
Yeah.
So you're at 250 total. For me, I ended up with 165 for the week. So that puts me at 375. So I'm in second place. Kelz ended up giving me only positive 5 points just because the elimination being voted in, give you negative 75 right there.
Yeah.
So, but Fessy, Nelson, and Ashley kind of gave me a little bit of a boost, even though Ashley only ended up with positive 20 overall, just because she had the drunken stuff where she lost points. And so I didn't have very many big points, and then Bettina is just sinking me.
She's
2 weeks in a row. She's in
Yeah.
the negative for me for no reason other than laughing.
I don't have a problem with her laugh. I think it's funny.
So I'm at
bad, though,
165 for the week, 375 total. Jake ended up having Ed replace Nam. Blessing in disguise.
Yes, it is.
He got you 120 points for this week, and
Wow.
then Esther got you 70.
Well, I had two elimination winners and one half of the daily winners.
Yeah, she got you 70. So it's just you had a lot going for you. So you had 10 from 0 from CT, by the way, first overall pick.
He was non-existent this episode.
10 from Amanda, 120 from Ed. Berna got you 10 overall. Jeremiah got you 20. Josh got you Josh ended up with 40 actually. Emmanuel 10. Emmy 30, which she had a crazy amount of scoring, but she ended only up with 30, even though you get 75 for a win.
Mm-hmm. A lot of breakdowns.
I was about to say a lot of breakdowns. Huey offset at 0. Big T got you 10, and then Esther got you 70, like I said. So you're at 300 for the week and 425 overall. So the standings right now, Hannah in third, 250, me in second at 375, and Jake in first at 425, but only 50 points separates you from me, and it is 175 points separates you and Hannah. So that's all doable within a week.
Yeah.
You just gotta luck out on the right things. Do we all have?
So I haven't lost anybody.
Let's say I have. I've lost 2 people. Hannah's lost 2 people.
Yeah.
So
that works
I
for
lost
me.
2 people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tracy.
And yeah, you forgot about her, and you lost Renan last week.
Yeah, that's who I had in mind. I forgot that I lost Tracy.
So it's this season's going to be interesting because a lot of the big name people, like both of you guys' first overall pick, Kyle and CT got 0 points this week.
Nothing.
I don't even remember seeing Kyle this episode.
Nani got 0. Casey got 0.
Isn't that fitting?
Yeah. It's just, it happens. Sometimes you got to have storylines for the people that are going in, and it's just part of it. So, again, patreon.com/SmashingHeads podcast has the Survivor stuff. We have another one dropping next week. We also have just exclusive stuff coming on there, so check that out. And then be sure to follow us on Twitter. Just get us to 1,000. That's what we're trying to do.
You got a bill fee and $20 waiting on you.
Yeah.
Go buck wild with the follow button. Is that what you said the other day?
I think I did. At Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And we've got some other things coming up. Just be watching our social media for any sort of announcements, but they do always go up on Patreon first. So, I'm going to point at you.
Yes, which means it's time to have a good night, everyone.